guys? Ginger Cook here, and this is a fabulous Premiere Monday. And what that means is that instead of doing the live show, John and I are going to join you in the live chat in our Premiere. And so that way we can schedule some of these acrylic painting videos ahead of time and
still be with you.
And still be with you, even when we're traveling or for some reason can't make a live show. So for this month that we're doing, Fall Month, we're going to feature on artists from the past, the old EGs, what we call the old dead guys. And one of my favorite artists, which I've done a lot of his artwork, is Hassan, who's an American artist. I think it's, most people, when they think of older artists, they think of Van Gogh or Renoir or Cezanne. But I'm telling you what, a lot of other countries had wonderful artists painting at the same time, and Hassan was certainly one of them. And so that's the nice thing about our channel. I hope you'll take a moment right now before we go on too much further to subscribe if you have to and give us a like.
If you have to, no, you have to.
No, that's true. That's true, John.
There's no have to. You have to.
So anyway, this is the kind of thing because you learn a lot. Even if you think and you look at this tutorial and say, "Gosh, this is so tough. I don't think I could paint that." Follow along because you're amazed at what you're going to learn. Every time you watch one of our videos, you're going to learn something new, or something you may have said it and it's just never registered. And one day you'll have like this aha moment. So we want you to have an aha moment. And I really like this particular painting because it's a lady reading a book, and we have several in our Academy of Fine Art and Acrylic Painting from our old DGs where they featured women reading books. Apparently that was an okay pastime for women to do, and it was fun. And I like this because we're painting the figure from behind. You just see a tiny bit of her head. You don't have to have, this is going to be, she'll be very easy to paint in. We're on a 12 by 12 canvas. You can see this, which I've painted dark brown.
Oh, all right. I suppose you want me to drop on down.
Yeah, John's going to drop on down. And while he's doing that, I want to thank our mods that are here for the premiere and they're coming in there. Thank you very much for showing up. And keep in mind that my typing is not as good as my painting. I misspell, and a lot of times I put stuff in all caps. And
sometimes.
Well, no, I mean, typing just isn't my best thing, so that's okay, right? So when you see my typing, and there's what's wrong with her? Well, it's just Ginger typing.
She's an artist. She's not a typist.
All right, so you see, this is our painting. Now, we have edited a slight bit. We'll give you the full painting on our website. Because
he had a bunch of stuff at the bottom that just
I didn't particularly like, but we want to give you. So if you're on our website, if you're an orange member and above, you certainly can get the full painting. I think this is very nice, and I like the square because it gives you a nice kind of a triangular picture pattern. I'm going to just have some Zelle transfer paper here. I'll make sure that it actually transfers. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and a lot of times it's what you're painting underneath. The undercoating that we put, the underpainting. So let's see. Let me find a pen here and see if it's working. Oh gosh, beautifully! Look at that. See, you just never know. And other times you're so frustrating. Well, here's the thought: if you have an underpainting and you can't get the Zelle transfer paper to transfer, and you haven't done anything yet, you just have an underpainting, consider
another underpainting.
Another coat of try a little piece, like say up in a corner, then dry it with a hairdryer, and then see if you can get something that will kind of stick, so to speak. Yes.
Or not stick, as the case may be.
Or not stick. Yeah. So that would be one thing. Like a lot of times, if that's at a YouTube show, I think we did that a few weeks ago where I had some that just would not adhere.
We couldn't get anything to go to it.
Couldn't get nothing, and someone else wrote me that too. They said, "Well, I can't find anything that's going to stick to my my canvas." There probably is, and I haven't done a study on it. Maybe you'll do a study and tell me. Maybe there's certain brands of paint that make better underpaintings than others for transferring on. We should do that. We should probably experiment.
Oh yeah, let's spend time doing that.
Someday maybe you'll do it and tell us, because I think there's something going on here. You want to make sure that he put in here this kind of post with a little faucet.
That is a door.
That?
That's not a post. That's a door.
He thinks it's a door.
That's a door with a handle.
You don't think that's a faucet?
No, it's not a faucet.
Oh, okay. Well, see, Mrs. Magoo wondering.
Where do you come up with this stuff?
I don't know. It just seemed like it might be. All right. So I'm going to just start with a pen and go ahead and do your thing. do my thing here. I'm going to draw along, and as we're doing that, let's see. What am I missing here? Here we go.
This is Frederick Child Hassoun.
Hassan, yeah, Hassan. Frederick Child Hassan, right?
He went by Child, his middle name.
He just, well, I read somewhere that he was Frederick Child. I read somewhere that he liked to let people think he was from the Middle East.
Yes.
Where he wasn't.
No.
But there was a little bit of mystique going on with that.
Yeah, he was born in Boston area.
So this reminds me a little bit of the lady in the chair with Mary Cassette. You remember that one on YouTube?
Oh, with the puppy dog?
She had the dog and she was reading.
Yeah.
This lady from behind. This is a similar kind of, similar, yes?
Similar, yes.
And so the trick is to just make sure you're very accurate on her face. Let's see, is that going through? Oh, beautifully. Look how beautifully that is. She's got her hair up in some sort of bun. It's pretty. And here's her hand. There's her dress. I think, even though this seems a little complicated, I don't think it's going to be as much as you think. All right?
I don't think so.
I think you're going to be surprised.
Just think about the layering, how you want to layer it in there because of how the depth of it.
All right. She's got a little water mister. This is a water mister. And here's our, going back this way is her, is this flower thing. And then there's some flower pots over that. But you've got these, you notice that these flowers are going down. Do you see that? They're going down this way. These are going up. When you're painting flowers, here's your first tip. When you're painting flowers, consider the direction of where they're aiming. Don't make them all like flashlights staring you in the face. Yes and yes. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and just put a few in here just to get some shapes. Clump some together, group them. Watch the shapes. All right. I'll put these others up here kind of later because I want to put my wall in. So we know that there's a wall up there. And there really isn't much more to this whole thing than all of this, right? That's our, that's all you need to do to draw this on. I think there's a little bit of the top of this,
little planter.
This little planter right there, but honestly.
Now, did you do all the little pots in front of it, or you just know?
I think I'll just put those in later because I want to put the planter in. Okay. Yeah. So we're going to be using Salvador paint today, and they have lots of nice colors. And I'm thinking you may want to add, there is a black in Salvador paints, and I think I want this sort of grayed, old blue wood, and I can get that using black. But normally you don't see me using black, but this time I will. See that?
We're venturing out.
We're going to venture out. I'm going to use a little black. You can see that's pretty easy, isn't it? When you think about how that works. And somebody said, what kind of transfer? I got one of my students who does the personal art coaching asked, well, what kind of transfer paper to use? We use Sorel. And like I say, the white seems to work the best. And sometimes it works on some surfaces and not others. It usually always works on a very hard surface, like the harder the surface. But you can see this worked really nice. When someone says, well, what did you use for underpainting? Well, we do these for so long before we use our extra paint. So that just looks like a burnt umber to me from Matisse or something.
Looks like to me.
So that's just what that looks like to me.
A little ultramarine blue.
So we're gonna do something here. Let's see. I need a little bit of black paint here, and I think I did something with my tube over there with the. I don't have it in my. Don't have my black here. Here's some black. There we go. I don't have it in my kit here. I did something with it. I don't know where we put it. So that's all right. So let's start with we want the brush strokes to go down this way. Let's just start with our back wall. And probably what we want is some white paint and a little bit of our lighter blue. And mix that over here, like 1% black. Okay. A little more white. I want this sort of grayed blue color. Yes and yes. And see, then use your brush and sort of drag it like that. Just sort of drag it. Allow for some of the underpainting to show through like that. Just sort of, the brush doesn't have any water on it.
That'd be the new Bristol-on angle brushes. Yeah,
these are the Bristol-on angles, and they're beautiful. If you get a lot of paint on your brush, you might want to tap it off on something. But even still, just coming up with the up and down like that. If you're using what we call a dry brush, you should be fairly happy with your result. Okay, so you just keep coming out. Now, I'm going to overlap some of this, and now I'm out of paint, so now I'm going to mix a little more of that color. Okay, a little bit more of the blue.
That's pretty good so far, kind of matching what he had.
Well, that's kind of what I'm working on here, right? Matching a little bit of what he had, and if I don't get it exact, that's okay, but it just basically, just make sure we have our book here. I'll use a smaller brush around her face. We're just going to do this. Now, here's the thing. When you're doing a background like this, particularly, if you'll notice me, I'm pretty much done with the painting, in an hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that. But you may just stop and paint this, and then something happens, and you got company, or who knows, but for whatever reason you had to leave, and you won't remember how you did your background color. So when you're starting a painting, take the moment to write down what you did for background color somewhere. Have a little note sheet against it, sort of like you come back and fix something. You should be using
your color mixing journal, really.
Well, you should be using your color mixing journal for sure, and that's available on our website, and that's what I would recommend everybody does. Here, okay, let's just do this a little bit. I got a little red in there by mistake, but that's all right. I'm gonna just add a little more of this blue color. Okay, around her face, and
You haven't given it a thumb up yet? Go ahead and do that right now while we have a pause in the action.
Yeah, because I have to kind of focus on getting around her head. See, like that. Okay. Yeah.
Appreciate everybody joining us this evening.
Yeah, we've got some. We've had some questions come in that people wrote us, and I think it's a good time while I'm doing this to answer some of those. Why do we use the Bristol-on brushes? What's so special about this? I've gone through over the years tons of brushes. You used to see me all the time using the Ruby Satin Silvers. They're made by the same company, and they don't have as much give. They're a little softer. These are a little stiffer, and I find they work very well with acrylic paint. And we've been, I've been very happy with these brushes for that reason. Okay. So, that's just, people say, well, why do you use it? And I've got a little bit of burnt umber, maybe a little bit of burnt sienna, I think. That's some of them right in here. I'm just going to come up like that, kind of a little outline where my dress is. Okay. And I think I want some burnt sienna going kind of at an angle on my chair like this. This burnt sienna. And that's your rust brown color. I'm going to come down here. And as I get down closer, do it at an angle. Get the brush stroke sort of at an angle. This is one of these rattan chairs. That means they're woven, a woven chair, right? Now I want a little bit of ultramarine blue and burnt sienna, and I'm going to make it a little bit darker, or even take a little black maybe. Yeah, maybe that would be good too. And just lightly brush in some of that, because what happens to your chair is it gets down into this area and it's a little darker down in here. Okay, there we go. So we're kind of blocking stuff in, and that's what you want to do when you're painting something is, let's take a little bit of burnt umber and ultramarine blue and get this a little bit darker down here. Okay. This is your next coat of paint. All right. Now, while it's still wet, I'm going to rinse my brush. Okay. And I want to take some yellow oxide. And I want to come through here like this. Now, oh, when I rinsed the brush, what happened?
A lot of water.
A lot of water. Did you see that? I rinsed it, I wiped it off, but I did get all the water out of the brush. So let's try that one more time. There you go. I'm going to just come through here like this. Now I'm trying this out. I think that's working pretty well. Kind of flatten your brush, put this on there like that. Not very little pressure. Okay, and so we're just gonna, and he's got something kind of going this way, but it's too wet to do more than that. You see that? I'm not getting anywhere. It's too wet. So the trick is, when you're doing a painting like this, ask yourself, let's take a little bit of the same color and ask yourself, how much water is still on the brush, how much water is in the canvas, and when do I put paint down? Kind of get a feel for that.
Also,
That's
when
really,
should you be drying?
yeah, so you can sometimes let something dry and then keep going. But okay, here's our rattan going across. Now when you're putting yellow over something dark like this is like a yellow oxide color. It's going to look a little darker than if you put it on a white canvas. So that's probably pretty good too. And I think I'm going to take that same color and just put it down in here. And I think I'll put a little orange with it, kind of a little bit of red with it. And put it in here like this, and just, this is my first coat of color down at the bottom. And you notice that it's sort of picking up some of the underneath brown color too, and that's good. Now we'll do another coat of paint on this, but that's pretty much solves that. Now here we're going to take some yellow, yellow medium and black, and we're going to make a green color. A little bit more black and maybe some ultramarine blue in it. There you go. We want this army green color. So right down, up and down here on this flower box. So ultramarine blue, yellow, black. And we've got this kind of, like I say, it's an army green color. And again, we're blocking this in. Okay. Which is good. We can do that, right? Just now we know where our flower box is. So nothing too complicated here, I promise you. This is pretty basic stuff. So again, I'm going to rinse the brush, wipe it off, and I think I'm going to go to just white, and just I need a little bit of white here with a tiny bit of blue in it, and I'm going to say, here's her skirt. It's got a little bit of blue in it. It's coming down here like that. Okay, that brown wasn't quite dry, but that's all right. Still put a little blue in it. This is the shadow part of the dress. As we come down here toward the box, kind of, there we go. It just kind of swings in there like that.
Skirt along the edge.
Yeah, skirt along the edge. And so that's her shirt. And then her book is going to be, you want it white. So I don't want any blue on the book. I don't want to lose let's see. Let's try a clean patch of white. There you go. So here's her book. Now you may need to dry this. I'm being very careful. It's kind of like playing, kind of Russian roulette here with their book. But you'll notice that like I say, I'm trying to be very careful. with this. Of course, she's going to have it'll be a little outline on it too, but there you go. So we just sort of rough that in a little bit more white up here on her dress. And you have to do stuff twice. Yes and yes. So when you look at that, just take a moment and say, well, what else could I do? Well, this is the background's dry enough where I can take that larger brush that we had and wipe it off. What could really wring the water out of that, right? And if you can see from the garden wall, there's a lot of kind of a dirty wall, right? So I think I'll take a little bit of yellow oxide. I have a little bit of left, kind of flat on the brush here. I'm going to just drag it. Let's see, a little yellow oxide. Let's put some more of that out. Because I was out of that. Okay. I put a little bit of that, and let's put a little bit of black with it, like less than 1%. Okay. And some zinc white. Okay. There we go. That's probably about what I want. And I'm just going to just drag a little bit of some streaks down here, kind of with the edge of my brush, not holding it flat. I'm just saying here's some streaks here like that. So put a little brown with that. Okay, so just barely touching this, okay? I'm going to put a little bit of something, burnt umber here maybe. What's the burnt umber? Now, if I do that, then I have to wipe all the paint off. And I'm going to come down here like this. And, all right, so there we go. I want a little bit of this color here on this wall. Now, I've got more than he does, so what can I do? I can go back and take a little of that blue color that I just remember I told you to remember how you made it. Everybody remembers me saying that, right? Okay, I had a little bit of black and a little bit of this blue. Okay. So now look what happens when I do the next coat. In other words, you don't have to get it perfect the first time. You just layer it, yes? Very easily touching that. Pretty nice. So, John, what are some of the questions that have been coming in this week?
One we constantly get is, I'm a member, but I don't have access to my lessons. I go to the lessons and it says I don't have access.
Okay.
And I'm going to pop up a graphic here. Give me a second to load that up because we're using a newer software, and the software is designed to be, what's the word I'm looking for? It's an educational type software. You know, it's designed for classrooms. It's designed for what we're actually using it for.
Well, I like the one where it says take this course.
That's what people are missing.
They're missing it. You have to take the course, which is different.
You know, what we had before. The other one you just popped in and you think
once you remember, you just did it, right?
Yeah.
And the reason you want that, here's the thing. The new system that we've got, John spent months trying to find a better way to present the chapters and the segments. Because when we do a big video, like for instance, when we do a big long lesson on our website, or even one like this, we divide it into chapters, usually 20 minutes at a time, so that you can take breaks. And you can, each one of our lessons in the Academy has a bookmark button. So wherever you are, you can hit bookmark, and that's where then you can come back and do it again. And remember, you've got to be logged in. So I'm going to go ahead and keep putting the gold on, John. Did you have the?
No, I got to get it.
John's going to get that for us in a minute, because you're right, that comes up a lot. Absolutely comes up a lot. Now I'm going to go this way. Just the same thing I did with the wall, kind of drag some gold over here. Maybe a bit of orange color. That's that kind of reddish cat orange color. This way, just a little bit this way. Just drag it over this chair. Do you see what I'm doing? Okay, maybe something like this here. All right, so we don't have to say very much about this chair. We just know that it has, it's lighter across the top. There's a couple of light edges. You can use a brush like this and just tap it and get some pretty good lines like that. That's just sort of very pleasant. All right, so this needs a second coat, but it's still a little wet. But I'm pretty happy with the, pretty happy with the wall, but I could do a few more little dark spots. There's a little black on here like that. There you go. Just something a little more like this. I want to bring your eye down, and that's what does it. Let's do a little blue over it. There we go. There we go. Now we got our dirty wall. Yeah? Ah! Okay. So that's pretty much all I need for that big brush. Her outfit is like black with, she's wearing like a black outfit, and it's got maybe a little bit of ultramarine blue in it, but it's basically black. So here's her, like a shawl, and you just don't see it. And her hair is pretty dark too. It's like black and brown. We're going to say that here's her hair. Telling you what, this is an easy picture to do. There's her hair like that, coming around like that.
Let me pop over. I've got it here. Now, one thing is a lot of you folks watch our lesson on mobile devices, which just drives me absolutely nuts. But when you go to a lesson that says you don't have access, if you scroll on down, you're trying to access it, it says you're not enrolled, the price is free, take this course. You have to press that take this course button, and then you will be taking the course and you'll have access to it. And that's where the problem seems to be. You folks are missing that little tidbit. That's a mobile screen I just showed you there. The desktop or computer or a bigger screen will show it just horizontally across the top bar. You can't miss it. Well, currently you can miss it, but it's at the very top of the page. So I think that is probably our number one issue, because it is different than we had in the past, so people are a little blocked from that. The other issue that comes up a lot is if you forget your password and you fail to log in and you get blocked, your IP address gets blocked, and we're sorry we're having to do that, but this website is
Protected.
is very protected, and it's constantly being bombarded by nefarious individuals, and that's why we have to do what we're doing. You need to remember gingercooklive.com. You can use a contact form there. And there's a website you need to go to. We'll update that website a little bit to show you what you need to do so we can get your IP address to unlock you. Because we have to have it from the device that you got blocked from. And it's not what you normally think you can find it in your phone. It's not that way. So gingercooklive.com will have more information on that over there. But those are probably the two biggest issues that we have with people.
You'll notice that when he's doing this, I'm just adding a little more color to my wall. Coming down, I know I want some of this light color underneath my flowers, so I'm just adding that right there so you guys can kind of see that, right? Now, as long as I've got the light color here like that, I know that I'm going to take a little bit of white and raw sienna, and I'm going to come up here like that and just type in some highlights on her bun. There you go. She's got this bun. Now her face, let's do a smaller brush. Her face is, see, I have a long, small, here we go. Where's our long, small brush? Well, I need a smaller brush, okay. All right, I just need a little small brush here. We're going to start with white and yellow oxide and a little bit of red or orange color. And maybe a little bit of burnt sienna. There we go. And we're just going to come in here like this and say there's her. You just have her little profile. That's all you've got. There's really nothing to this. That's all we're gonna do. And she's got it's a little bit darker up here toward her forehead, right? And honestly, you just don't see anything else, and you see a little bit right here where her hand is. That's it, you guys. That's it. And then I've got a little tiny bit of, for instance, I'm saying right across here like this, and that's still wet, the black hair. I'm just doing that so you can kind of see where her hair came up this way. And then we've got, there's an ear, but we have a little bit of like, almost like, I don't want to say sideburns, but her hair's coming that way. Okay. So that's all you're going to see. And then her book, it needs another coat of white here on the book. And you can use a small brush here, like that. And here's the left side of the book is shorter. Do you see that than the right side? And we're going to take a little of that green color, which is black and yellow, kind of that army green color, and say that here's the edge of her book. And then here's the edge of her book, right like this, where she's holding it. And there's some stuff going this way. If you want to, while it's still wet, you can kind of indicate there might be some pages. A little shadow here, something like that. But I mean, that's how simple this is. So even though we're doing it a bit larger than we normally do on YouTube, I think we're doing it larger, and here's why. Because for that kind of detail, it sort of helps if you can do it bigger. Does that make sense? Again, we'll put her hand back. So really, honestly, isn't anything here. And the only time you're going to see her eye is you don't see, because it's right in the corner. You don't put an eye here. It's just kind of an indication right there.
Kind of where it goes in.
Kind of where it goes in, because you're not, because you're looking at her from the side. So then I've got a little bit of this kind of gray and white color, just a couple little highlights in her dress. Let's do a little bit of that. And they're very little. I mean, they're so little, you guys, that just, there we go, just something in here like that to indicate there's something on her dress, but really we're not seeing that. And then we're seeing, if you look at his, we've got some of these kind of, the folds of her dress are doing this. There's a little bit of black here that's doing this way to kind of indicate that maybe it's kind of folded over a little bit. And then I love this painting because of this part here. It kind of comes out and it comes back in here like that. And then as the dress goes down here, there's just a little bit of light on the edges. So this takes, I would say this takes a deft hand. Now I'm seeing now something else. Part of the book is coming by her face too. There's part of this book that's coming up here by her face. Okay, like that. And I'm gonna dry that for a minute, John. Because that absolutely has to be dried to be correct. Okay, so because if your brush is dirty, it's very hard to paint white. Does that make sense? And we know we want it white by her face. This book is almost open like in a, it's almost like two books in a sense. It's weird because this line goes up like this. It's kind of V's here at the top. And there's this V's and this V's. And then here's another page here. A little bit of light by her hand. And he's got a little bit of the sort of yellow oxide and brown. And I guess that's the pages of the book here we're seeing. Take a little bit of white and just, you don't see very much of that, but there's that kind of splits it down here. So the white really is the margins. Okay. And there's a little bit of an outline, not much. Okay. That's good enough for now. I think we'll come back to that because what's happened is that I can see where this line here has to come down at an angle like that. And it's not. So let me try that one more time. That would be the main thing to do. Dry it when you need to. Hey, you guys, I've got 2 paintings here of a river, but you know what happens when you put them in order? They become a diptych. Diptych comes from a Latin and Greek word meaning 2 images that you put together. You know, it's been around for a long time. Triptych is would be 3. What's neat about a painting like this is that you can put them on the wall, separate them, and yet it's still one continuous piece of artwork. But each picture stands on its own. That's the trick. This one stands on its own as a painting. This stands on its own as a painting. But when you put them together, they really they become one big neat painting. And this is part of our Wave and Water Masterclass, but that's not why I'm telling you about it. Someone will actually be able to have a chance to win this diptych along with their choice of this diptych. And let me show you the other paintings we're talking about. If you have been contributing to our Karen Little Scholarship Fund. So someone says, who's Karen Little? Karen Little was John's wife. She passed away about 10 years ago. They were married 40 years, very happily married. And she was a very generous person, did a lot of knitting and crocheting. And wherever she went, she was constantly giving people things. And, oh, that's so pretty. She'd give them a scarf. She just personified generosity and kindness. We want to do that. Our academy does that too. We thank you guys for you're supporting us and for helping some of our students, continue in the academy longer. And so you guys, if you've been doing and contributing to us at those 3 spots I mentioned, thank you very much. And we hope you all have a chance to be entered in a drawing to win one of these original Ginger Cook paintings. It's our thank you to you. Here's a little Venice painting. We want to give people a choice. Every quarter from, I think it was, what did you say, December?
This one started December, and this is through February.
Through February 28th, if you've donated at least $100 to our Academy of Fine Art and Acrylic Painting with gingercook.com, all the information is on down below. If you want to see, we've got 3 ways where you can do that. You have an opportunity to have your name in a fishbowl for every $100 donation for a chance to win these paintings. There's a lighthouse painting or a Wave and Water Masterclass. There's another Wave and Water Masterclass with the rocks and the sailboats. And I think this would be cool if you just did like a little rope frame around it. But in any event, that we will pick 3 winners, and the first person will have their choice of all of these. And the second person will then get picked, and the third person will have whatever those last 2 are. I don't know what those would be. But anyway, it's our way of thanking you for contributing to our scholarship fund this quarter. And happy painting. And thank you guys from the bottom of our heart. Thank you so much. So I'm going to wipe the brush off and then start again. I need this line going here like that and coming down this corner. Okay. And then you're coming here, and then it's white right under her chin here and where her nose is. Okay, this is the other half of this book. And then the part where you've got the yellow oxide, kind of a little bit of black where the book is, you don't want this very dark. You just want to say it's here. You want to suggest some sort of writing material without actually having anything like that. So there you go. It comes all the way down to her outfit like that. There you go. So that's about the most you're going to see of that book. And we're going to bring her hand up a little bit more here. And you, again, I don't want to see her eye. Does that make sense? Just going to give her another coat of paint on her face. And like that. And that's all you're going to see. Okay? So easy peasy, you guys. And then we'll do the same thing here. Cake. We're going to come down the same thing here because, again, you see these stripes and see how they're kind of curved on this rattan chair? Okay. So I want to just... All right. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. So what else do we feel great about while we're doing this? All right, let's start putting in our flower planters. I'm telling you, it's dried enough now where this will go in fairly quickly from here. All right, so I want to take a moment to. I know that this week we had some donations come in after our show, so we take a moment to thank you guys that did that. Some people asked to be anonymous, so we appreciate that. Remember, if you're taking anything to our, if you're sending in any donations to our website, we have 3 ways to pay. It's in the description, right?
Yeah, down in the description, there's 3 different ways. We have PayPal, Zelle, and Venmo.
Yeah, and again, we thank you very much for that. And okay, so here's the dark edge of this flower pot. And then we want to have some green with a little brown like that. And again, too much water on the brush. Boy, if your brush has been sitting in water, it's just pointless. All right, so now I want to come across here like this. Let's put a little bit more of this yellow on here like that. I want to come across here like this and up and down, like it's almost like it's woven again, kind of like the way we did the whole
Chair.
whole chair. Just got a little bit in the corners here. There, she had a little bit in the corners, but this is, yeah, and then we're going to come here like that and do it again. Just pull some of this down like that. This side would be slightly darker than that other side, than this one. Well, this is the lighter side. This is our dark side. Okay, this is our lighter side right there. So let's take a little bit of lighter color. Just do something like this and pull it down. So we want, no, you know that you want this edge to be stronger. That's what a beautiful brush like this does. See that? And don't want to get too carried away with it. Ah, yes. And this as long as we're doing it, yellow oxide and black, and let's pull another a little black and maybe a little brown with that. There you go. Let's just say here's another kind of second coat of dark green, kind of an army green. Floor here, okay? We've got a little of some of this colors in our door too, so let's just bring some of this color up here in our door. Just we don't have to get too fancy. There you go. Right? So I always ask myself, where else can I put the color? For instance, if I'm doing that, where else can I put the color? Do I need a little dark brown up here? Do I need a little dark brown here? Where else can I put the color? All right. So I think I'm pretty close to being ready to put in the flowers. And that's going to be fun. Not that this other wasn't fun. But before I do that, I want to show you something. Here are some of we talk about, we're doing old EGs. We've got a lot of our old dead artists on the in the Academy. And they're under we have a category for that. So if you're searching by category, you don't have to be a member to look and see all the paintings we've got. You can just log on to acrylicpaintingwithgingercook.com, look under lessons and search by category, and you just look under. We've got we have a ton of these artists that have lived in have gone before, because you can learn so much from them. Here is our Mary Cassette. We have redone this one. I first did it when we first started. It was pretty small. I've done it larger. That's one of the ones coming up. Which I think is really wonderful. And of course, you may remember that our release of the, let's see, where is that one?
This week's release is the little girl and the teddy bear.
Yeah, but I wanted to show, back out on this. Again, you can see that there was the colors. That's last week in the Academy. This was one of our paintings. And you can see where the colors are similar, aren't they? And you see the colors here, the colors here. There was a palette that was used back then. And a lot of it was the fact that they didn't have access to a lot of colors like we do today. But anyway, so that's one of our releases. And this week we're going to be releasing our little girl and teddy bear. And of course, that's an original Ginger Cook. I really like that. I think it's kind of nice, sort of maybe Valentine's Day-ish to me. I thought it was really cute. We're going to be releasing that very, very soon, like this week.
Yes, like Friday.
Like Friday. All right. So that being said, let's come back with our small brush, and let's start with some dark green, some ultramarine blue and the darkest green that Salvador has. And we want to come up here like this and maybe suggest a few stems, not too many. Now, here's the trick. And you're going, oh, there's a trick. The leaves are going up like a U. Okay, like that. You see that? The leaves are doing this. So we're going to start with the darkest colors of leaves. We're going to just, and boy, I had so much water. This brush has been sitting in water, so I'm going to wring it out. And I'm going to go up here like this, and fairly quickly, it's just I really care where the leaves are here and the shape. So you start with the darker ones, you overlap like that. Start with these darker ones. And we already have a dark background, so I'm not too worried about that. And as we come down here near her dress, we're just going to suggest some are coming over the edge of this flower container. Now our next color is going to be this lighter green with some yellow. This light green with some yellow and a little tiny bit of burnt umber in it. So we want more of an olive green. Now watch what happens here. See? We're just going to do that. I'm not trying to do exactly like his, but I know that I want some of these colors. There's a lot of this color over here. And you go right on top of what you've been painting. Maybe put some yellow oxide with that. Come down here into more of the gold greens. See, there's some yellow oxide coming this way. And maybe get into some of our bluer greens. So that's one of the things I don't have to tell you how to mix the colors. The Salvador paint has some very pretty blue greens, and you can even add a bit of blue too. That's nice, like that to your brush. Okay, a little bit of this blue-green color down here. Now, what I want to do, which is a little bit different than I normally do, what I'm going to do here is dry that, and then I'm going to put the flowers on, and then I'm going to go back with the green leaves after I've done my flowers. We'll finish with the green leaves, but I want to make sure that I have these colors in here first. And it's just if you're an Academy member, orange or above, you can get the actual reference photo, which you're going to want to see exactly where these light and dark colors are. So like if you were, for instance, copying a letter, you wouldn't just make up stuff, other words, right? If you were copying a letter. So since we're copying his, you want to put the leaves where he had them, kind of, at least it can balance the colors. This is not little polka dots all over the some of you are going to do this, I know it. So we're just going to talk about that. Some of you, here's my scrap piece of paper here. Some of you are going to do something like this. All right, now watch this. I know it. Some of you are going to say, here's your flower box, right? And then I'm going to say, some of you are going to want to do this all over it like that. Watch the video again, because I never have done that. We are not doing stars on a flag. And that's where you lose it with flowers, that everybody wants to do like this. Like it's, no. Not doing that, right? Okay. So, all right, let's dry this, John. Perhaps this would be a good time to tell about some of the stuff we're doing.
Okay.
Well, that means where you have, then since we're pre-filming this, that means that you've got some little thing that you can slip in here.
Oh, okay.
Right? That was your clue to go. And now we'll go to John. You guys, because we're studying the artwork of some of our artists from the past and the American artist Child Hassam. I wanted to tell you a little bit about it. Now, I would encourage you to go to Wikipedia. There's like 8, 10 pages about this young man. But to me, what stood out was that as an artist, as a child, he had some talent, but he went into business with his father, and his uncle offered to send him to Harvard. Can you imagine? He decided he'd rather just work. But he became so good at drawing and sketching on his own that he actually started to illustrate children's books. He became what they call black and white man. He learned engraving, where they just so he learned that, and it's kind of this career he had. And then later on, he decided to do more paintings, and his friend advised him to go. One of his friends said he needed more education. He just didn't say, "Oh, he's talented. He should just figure this out." So they took a tour of a lot of different countries in Europe, France, Italy, Spain. Studied under looked at all the museums, looked at the masters, which is what we're doing now. Spent time with watercolors because that travels easily. Learned as much as he can. Later went back and went to art school. Took figure drawing. Did all he just didn't say, "Well, I'm talented, I'll figure it out." I think this is really important because if you're not learning, you're not getting forward. And so when we look at his prolific over 3,000 paintings he did, over 3,000, there's so many different styles, and that you can see what we're featuring. We've got some in the Academy of Fine Art Acrylic Painting. We've got a few on YouTube. And I encourage you to look at the work of the guys that have come before, because they will help you a lot in learning how to perfect your art skills. And so, Child Hassam, Childe, like you'd think it would be Childy, but it's Child. Everybody called him Child. They didn't call him Hassam. Look up his full biography. It's like 8 pages. Okay, and really take a moment to see it, because I think you're going to be surprised at an artist's journey, and it might be encouraging to you too.
And now we're back.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that happens when you're drawing things is that that things get darker than you want, and I don't see these lighter stripes enough, so I'm going to give these a second coat here, right? Because it just, particularly up here, you just sometimes things have a tendency to dry darker, and I'm not a big fan of that. I mean, it just happens, but you may have to just put some stuff back, right? And then I know that I'm going to come up here like this and we don't know what's going on in here because he never said. So we'll just put this corner is just sort of, who knows? Okay. Her chair kind of ends here, but that's what we're doing. Okay. So for your flowers, let's take some white paint and let's come up here for the first ones, and let's start. Remember, they're facing up. Here's some white. So we're going to do that. And they're together. They're not polka dots. This one's kind of touching that one. And then we've got another one here. There's a little one right there. Then we got a little one right there. And then we have 3 together. One, they're kind of that one's kind of flat. This one's kind of round. Okay, a little bit. I can have a little darker one here. Okay. You could put a little dot if you're not sure. Take a little piece of chalk, for instance, like this. Take a little chalk, and then if you know that, for instance, you've got one here and you've got one here, if you want to draw it out for yourself so that you know the shape, you remember the shapes you want. That doesn't hurt, because you know that you're going to want one doing this kind of trumpeting out, because it's looking down. That's a good word. These are trumpeting down. The same with this one. It's trumpeting down, and this one's right next to it. The only reason you can see that there's 2 different flowers is because of the colors. This one starts up a little higher. These are trumpeting down. Somebody didn't water this flower garden very well, did they? These are all kind of mooshing down here. Now we've got a little round one up here. Got these trumpeting down. This one's a pretty nice big one. Got another kind of round one right here, and they're a little bigger. We've got a small one right here, and then a medium-sized one. Think of Goldilocks when you're doing flowers. Big, little, small, right? And you got those 3. And I've got another one here this one's trumpeting down here too. It comes down a little further than I thought it would, but there you go. And if they're not exactly where he is, but they're close enough. I think, and I've got something right in here like that. And then we're going to have some other flowers, but that's how you do this. Okay. So you see where the green wasn't dry and it's kind of tinting that flower? That's okay. We don't mind. Now let's do our next coat of white on the dress. Okay. And then it's coming down here like this, and then it's puddling under here too. Like that. See that? It's little puddles. And we need to do more on the book. Just lighten that book up a little bit. There you go. That.
Have you ever seen a dress puddle?
Yeah, when these long stuff, yeah, they puddle. And they had these long dresses and stuff. That's what they
call it puddling.
Yeah, it's called puddling, and curtains puddle too, John. Did you know that?
I'm sorry. Maybe if the dog went over and lifted a leg on it, there'd be a puddle. But
Curtains
other than
puddled.
that,
Look it up. Look it up. Right?
What, drapery puddling?
Yeah, they puddle.
You don't think I won't Google that, huh?
Go ahead and Google. It's called puddling. It's called puddling. Fabric puddles.
Okay.
There's a couple of stems on these, in the couple of places, but not much else. Right? Okay. Fabric puddles. Absolutely, it puddles.
Drapes puddle or not?
Okay, so we're just now. Let's put these little flower jars in. These little flowers, and they're just. This is very simple. Okay, they're going to go back this way, and there's the kind of like that. You taper back, and there's a small one here. There's a bigger. They're different sizes, so you've got a little. He's got three that are kind of this way.
Maybe do you know there's rules to puddling your curtains?
No. What are the rules?
Well, first off, is it okay for curtains to puddle?
Yeah, because that's a style.
Puddle drapes can add so much grandeur and drama to your home decor. Please. What is the proper amount of puddle should you have? 2 to 4 inches of material of your drapes has achieved this style. A true puddle, as it sounds, the original puddle, adding somewhere between 6 and 16 inches of material to the bottom of your drapes will result in an elegant and sophisticated train of fabric to create your puddle. I have never in my life heard of a puddled curtain.
Yeah, they puddle.
I'll tell you, folks, nowhere else on the internet will you find education like this.
I'm telling you what. I mean, your day is complete. You've learned something new.
Well, I've learned something new. I can go to bed now.
I'm telling you what.
Puddling my curtain. I really thought that's when the dog lifted the leg.
Yeah, well, that's also called puddling, but not quite the same here.
Not
right?
Quite the same.
Okay, so here's a little flower pot at the end too. Here. Okay, so and we see we probably want.
Is there one over there all by himself?
Yeah, he's over there all by himself.
Oh, he is. That's
and then
sad.
they're kind of rounded on the bottom too. Let's notice that. It's rounded. They look like little soup cans.
With little pots.
Yeah, apparently so. That's a problem to water, isn't it?
Is that puddle there you're putting in now?
Yeah, there's a little puddle there, just a little reflection or something. There's a little puddling here too. There we go. And there's some blue here. Let's get some of this blue in here. This miscellaneous blue, which I'm not sure about, but anyway, there you go, miscellaneous blue. Okay, so you're going, well, look, we're almost done. You're thinking, how's that possible? Okay, well, it's close. Okay. Again, you can take your time and do more, but what you've got here is that this beautiful kind of green. If you need to, here's what I want you to do. If you need to do it, mark the rushes coming up like that. Mark these because they come over her dress, and these come out here all the way, almost like cat whiskers, like that. Okay, and you've got this.
This is this fern in the corner.
There's a big fern in the corner here, right? So we're going to start right here and just bring it back. And we're going to start here, and I'm going to bring it back. And I've got some that are coming out of this corner that I'm doing this way. I'm getting new paint each time I do it. Okay, this is important, and I've already
Out of paint.
out of paint, so I'm going to want some more yellow oxide. Okay, so when we're doing this, as you know, we just, there you go, out of paint, there you go. Now, let's do it again this way, over a dress. This way, a couple of them come together like that. There's another one up here, but make sure that you have a few that are that are more deliberate direction, and then they change colors. There's some lighter stuff in here. They have some that are a little bit lighter. This one's coming up here like that. They've got one that's, it's got a little bit of light coming through here. We've got one that's a little bit blue coming up this way. And there's one that's kind of got a little bit of more green in it this way. So I think you could have a couple crossing over too, like that. So there you go. So that's pretty simple, yeah? And then you've got something in here like this. Some sort of scribbly stuff here, okay? Okay, really? Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at it going, that's what that looks like to me. Maybe it looks like something else to you, but this is kind of doing this. Some of this. Now I know where my flowers are going. Can I put in more greens and stuff? And I know pretty much where the flowers are going. And I can put some more of these gold leaves. And just keep overlapping. Again, I want something very dark underneath this flower right here. So let's take a little bit of dark brown like underneath that flower. So they show up. You know, this is old adage, wherever there's a light, there's a dark. So sometimes stuff just shows up because love the contrast between the lights and the dark. So this white is pretty dry, but let's be sure and dry it one more time, okay? And we'll just finish this up.
Hello, and welcome to the Academy of Fine Art and Acrylic Painting. It can be found at acrylicpaintingwithgingercook.com. Are you ready to take your acrylic painting to the next level? Are you tired of all the chit-chat that Ginger and John do during their live YouTube shows? Well, this is the place to come to. You can start off at the very level of just signing up as a pink member for $14.95 a week, and you'll have access to all of the red membership and below lessons. Those lessons include a lot. We have a lot of lessons, anywhere from one cookie all the way up to a full box of cookie. We use the cookies as a term of representing the difficulty or the challenge, as the case may be. You can have access to our latest tutorials. Again, at $14.95 for a week trial. You can do this as often as you want. Here are 12 pages of lessons, and there is 24 on the page. You have over 300 lessons right here. And included with the lessons, you'll have all the reference materials you need, the traceables, the originals if available, and if we can share them. You have everything you need to get started. When you're ready to step up your membership and you want to take advantage of the personal art coaching, those are available at the red, blue, and purple membership levels. You can upgrade at any time. You can come back. You can downgrade at any time. What you want to be able to do, though, is improve your art, and we highly recommend giving us a try. Try us for a week. Look around, kick the tires, as they say, and see if we can't help you become a better artist.
Okay. All right, so the colors we've got in here are kind of cad red. This is nice deep red of, this cad red. I think in Salvador it's not the Priorly. Which one is it? It's red. We've got, nope. I think it's not magenta. It's got to be this one. It's got to be carmine. That's the red we're using in Salvador. It's just carmine. Okay. So I want to come in here first and kind of roll that off the brush and just paint my flowers in over the white. Red always paints brighter over white. And watch your brush strokes, because if you're going to come down like this with some, where they're in the trumpet shape, as opposed to where they're in their when they're more in the little kind of flowered shape. So there's just, when they're not doing trumpeting, they're doing kind of rose-like weird things. So it's very interesting. He's got, wonder if these were real or if he just made these up. But anyway, here's our, we're going to do our first layer of flowers like that. When you're doing flowers, here's the next thing you want to know. You can, you always paint the darkest colors first. And then you're going to do some lighter ones. So we've got those, and then down here at the bottom, he's got, let's put a little bit more orange with that. Down here at the bottom, he's got some little flowers growing up here on the wall. They look like little geraniums, so we might change the reds. They definitely look like, again, not flower. Look at the shape. They all touch. They're not spots. Okay? All right, here's our little geraniums in the pots, and there's something over here, too, by her dress that looks like a little bit lighter. Okay, so I'm going into this light peach color, and I'm going to come on top of this flower, and I'm just going to tap it in there. This sort of peach color, just tap it on top.
You want to do it gently because your red's still wet.
Yeah, red's still wet. You're barely touching this, barely touching this. If you have to, dry it first. Here's the lightest color, so I'm going to wipe the brush off, so I go right into that peach color and just tap that on the top, because remember, the darkest is on the bottom. And these are the lighter bits of red up here, like that. Okay. Now, there we go. There you go, something like that. Now these other flowers, for instance, I know that this is darker underneath there. I'm going to just do yellow in that orange color, that first orange we did, and come up here like this and make this a little bit, just add a little yellow to that color to lighten it up. And maybe even a little white. There we go. See, just have a few little white highlights on the top. And you barely touch it with your brush. Just, this is where you do 1, 2, 3, stop. There you go. See? And you do this while it's still wet. One, two, here, just get it on one edge of your brush, just like that. Come on down here like this, and it's still wet, so it's going to go kind of pink on you. And that's all there is to it.
Do you not have any
white.
flowers in that lone pot over there on the left?
Yeah, we haven't done that one yet.
Oh, okay.
I just, that's all that is to these, right? Okay, and one of these is a little darker. Here's some magenta, and this little flower here underneath is a little darker. It's underneath those two. And I might have a little magenta underneath this one. Okay, so just a little bit of magenta. You've got these colors. Why not use them, right? So you can see where there's a little darker magenta flower over here, kind of on the edge. We're not talking about those. And we're not doing white on them or anything, and just put a little red there. See? There definitely is some darker and lighter flowers in here. And one of the things I'm going to encourage you to do is go find the pattern. Don't just rely on the flowers I found for you. Maybe you're going to see something I didn't. And that's okay.
There's tons of flowers out there on the internet.
So the white, there's like a little white and gray. For this little can here, there's a little, just a couple little. It's like this isn't doing, whatever's happening in this little can isn't doing very well.
It'd be like one of ours.
Yeah, this would, I don't know, this seems like a lot of trouble for what she's going through here. Got something dark, very dark underneath some black. I've got something very dark underneath the pot, right? And around my flower pots here. Okay. And I'm very aware that there's something's very dark right here. I'm going to narrow this up a bit. There you go. Just straighten that out right like that. There's something dark there. Like I always am kind of looking at where your darks and lights are, and I'm not going to do a lot more detail. If you want to find the original in our website and try to do a little more detail and maybe even do the whole painting, but this is how you would paint this painting. All right, that's the key. How would you paint it? We're going to show you that. And I want a turquoise blue color, so I'm going to take a little bit of yellow with the blue and white and make a turquoise blue. Take a little tiny bit of cad yellow with it. You turn it into this beautiful turquoise color. And I want a little bit of, see, there's a little bit of that turquoise in there, a little bit down in here. This is where you've got just see what I'm doing? And you said, well, how do you know where to put it? I just am putting it where he did. All right, I've got something kind of blue in here, and I'm putting it there. Some blue ones, right? I'm just absolutely putting it wherever he put it. That's where I want to put it, right? And
at least for the most part.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And I'm just going to come back up here and kind of erase this one, because and you can add some light somewhere to remember I told you to keep your background color so that you can come back in and enhance. And then we still need a few little more dark colors. You can kind of see where we need some more dark leaves, and if you need that, go put those back. Everything got kind of dark down here. That's too blue, so let's take that off. Let's get our dark green here, I think. We're just going to put that, and he did have a little bit of this black color in there. So we'll add that. So sometimes people will say, well, when do you add black? Well, I don't usually, but sometimes when you're looking at how someone else might have done something, you might be tempted to do it.
Especially when you're working with the ODGs.
Yeah, because they of course they did. And now I want to come along here like this and maybe darken a few of these.
Give them a little bit more dimension.
Yeah, so you see that, right? This is sort of fun. This is a fun painting, you guys. I think you'll surprise yourself.
How quickly it can come together.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot going on here, but you've got, like, for instance, you've got this wonderful color here. Let me show you this one right here, which is not this one. It's It's the Naples yellow red is the color. I'll show it to you right here. That's the color, really, basically, that's on here. The Salvador paints, we you can go to our Amazon store and see them. We've seen them on sale, all these colors, and they last such a long time. John, if I were traveling, trust me, I'm painting with them probably this week because besides in because when we travel, we use those colors, and you can you can still mix some stuff, but um
So many
these
are just ready to go,
yeah, they're ready to go, and they're really fun to use,
and they're well pigmented.
and they're well pigmented.
Lots
And
of
you've
piggies.
got such a variety of of tones. I mean, really, you don't have to know much. Here you go. So I'm going to come down here like that and just put that stem on. Okay. Okay. So put a few stems on our flowers. Honestly, there's just really not. There's not a lot to this. What do you know for sure? You know that it's always a little darker underneath the flower. You know, just gonna have it a little bit darker inside, right? So let's just put this aside for a while now. Just going to go with our painting at this point. Okay. Just want to go with our painting, what we're doing. Um, and because I want to make sure that I have it. I don't think I need the doorknob up here. I don't think that draws your eyes
I
up there.
knew she wouldn't do that.
No, well, because that black dot draws your eyes up right up here. So I'm not going to put it in, right? Just going to act. This is going to be a stop.
No, it's looking pretty good.
I've got the book up too high. That's good to know. This book's up too high. So
You do
I'll
the book again.
it's but that's all right because I know how to do the background color again, right? So the book's up too high, and it needs to come up. It's not. When I did it, uh, he did it too. If you look at that, he was playing with that book too. He put a little of this dark gray right by the edge of the book here, right like that. So we'll try that again with this going this way, and I want the white by your face, right? That's what we had here. There we go. So you can see her book a little better. She's got a little bit on the top of her chair. There's a little highlight. And again, you say, how do you know that? Well, it's kind of, I can see it in the picture. There's something highlighted back here, a little highlight here, and something on this one, and something here, and something here. Remember, where there's a light, there's a dark. So if you can't see these green things, then you might want to consider, just painting a couple again. Give it another uh, go at painting those, right? And she's got, I want to say I've got this light peach color for her skin. I'm going to wipe my brush off and say, here's her. I'm just going to put her face in again. Again, we just barely see it. Don't even talk about her eye because she's not looking toward us. She's looking away. So there you have it. That's all she's doing. And if you have that, it's a little bit darker up. Let's see, not that. A little bit darker up toward the top of her head. It's just a bit more of the rust color. And then just bring her hair up, line up a bit, right like that. And her chin is a little bit darker right here. But really, honestly, that's all there is to it, you guys. And there's her ear coming right there. That's honest. How cool is that, right? Because there just was so little that you had to do to make this work. And I feel like we've pretty much got the painting. And as I look at this, we're going to take a moment and pause. With John and I'll be chatting, but the video is going to pause here because what I like to do, and I can't do it in the live shows, but I can do it in the premieres, I'm going to pause and look at this and see what else I want to add, and I'll tell you what I did.
Well, we've done that, and most of the time, I keep it running because you give good information. So you and I can just have a little conversation like we normally do.
Well, I guess we could do that, John. Sigh, sigh, sigh. Okay. So, like, I've got something up there. I kind of shortened this. So I'm going to say, here's my edge on this flower right here, my stem. So then I know I want something dark around here. Really like it when you don't think we should have just paused that, right?
If you want to pause it, we can pause it.
Okay. There you go. See how I just kind of made it a little bit darker around that flower? And
That's one thing that caught my eye because it's pretty white.
yeah, you gotta, somebody sent me in a painting the other day of an animal and they had just done a nice job, but they just had too much white to this light blue. And then I talked about how we could, I want to break this line up right here. So I'll just put some of this blue paint here.
Some of the wall.
This is the wall, right? So if you just don't want a round ice cream cone.
Well, maybe you do.
Well, you don't.
Oh,
You don't. So you
I
want
like
this.
ice cream though.
So I want to just pull some of this gold down here. There we go, like that. I just slip that up there. This is our old wall. And just you don't want too much of these streaks showing, but you do want them. And
oh yeah, his wall was very streaky.
I want to just say that there's our. He really did take a little bit of light right around her face, and he had to do that too, and just around her nose, and just made that light right there.
It looked like he went back and did it too.
Yeah, you had to go back and do it, right? Because it's easy to lose this. It's just easy to, and we're not. It's just easy to lose it. We don't want this to be too streaky, but we've got enough going on here where we don't get too busy. That wall is a nice resting spot for your eye, so we really like that. And there's just okay, and I'm going to look at our bottom here, and I like that. I'm going to put a little color in here because this is pretty dull to me. So I'll just put a little color down here at the bottom, in here like this, and say woohoo, right? That's a good thing, right?
And don't
Woohoo!
forget the sound effects.
You like the sound effects? Sound effects lady? Hey, sound effects lady. See, sometimes you can just take something and little something or other and just tuck in a color. Here's some red. This little flower wasn't that much. You can tuck in a bit of red here. Where else is some red showing? There. And we're just going to say that's our lady reading. I love stories where, because to me paintings are like stories. I love stories where there's books. If you notice, we have just this. Our book collection is huge. See, here's some leaves coming up this way. I don't know what kind of plant this is, but it's sort of fun, and some of it sort of does our door a little bit. Kind of overlaps our door. Here we go. That light stuff. You're gonna see me doing a little bit of that. This color, and color that I might do is take this green and blue and white. I'm going to show you that. This is white, green, and blue. That's a nice color. That's like a phthalo green, isn't it? But just with more white in it. If you had phthalo green, that would be nice too. I love that right there. And see. He had some blue in here too. I'm not sure why, but look, he did. So we do too. All right, there it is. I think that's about what we're going to do. Let me just show you what this looks like.
So you get a frame for that?
Frame. Okay, so there you have it. The lady reading a book, and I think that's a very nice.
It's a nice painting.
Just a nice painting. It's just something a little different. Something I think, even though it looked complicated, right? And I look at that. So now I'm looking at it in the frame, and I'm going, God, what else could I do? I'm sorry this takes so long, but I want to have this. He had it lighter right here, and the brush has been sitting in water, so I want some white. He had it lighter right here, right in this little section right there. He had it light to balance her, I think.
You also set a contrast between that and the door.
Yeah, see, it was a little lighter right there. So when you're asking yourself, where is it? You can ask yourself, stop when it's dry, right? And ask yourself, do I need to make it lighter somewhere? Make sure you've dried everything. And like I say, he's got a little bit of this blue down in here. I'm just going to do this. I'm going to just suggest that these pots are leaking. Break that up right there. Oh, I like that. That's something I might do. You don't have to do it, but I think it feels like there might be some leaking pots.
Goes with the draperies.
Huh?
Goes with the draperies.
Kind of goes with the draperies. I'm just sort of leaking in There you go. I see it in a frame and see what I need to do to have it look kind of cool. And then he had some over here. He had some sort of flowering something over here too. Okay, just do that because I can. All right, lady reading a book. You guys, if you're enjoying this, please give us a thumbs up. I know you've already subscribed to the channel. Make sure you're still subscribed. That's a good thing to do. Our Facebook club, Acrylic Painting with Ginger Cook, is a wonderful place where you can show me the artwork that you've done. I love seeing what you've painted. Absolutely love that. And I think it's marvelous. And I try to comment when I can, but trust me, I see stuff. Okay, see how I'm making it a little bit lighter? Is it dried darker? Okay, everybody kind of sees that, right? Here's our book here. I'm going to just do one more thing. There's always one more thing with me, right?
Always one more thing. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for attending tonight, and we'll be back next week with another famous premiere. This week, remember, we're releasing the the bear, and the little
teddy
girl.
Bear and the little girl. That's our release this week. Check back regularly. Make sure you're signed up for our newsletter. Again, thanks for everybody that did some contributions tonight. We thank you very much. Keeps us going. And we hope you enjoyed our evening with us. And we look forward to hearing from you. And if you want to leave a comment, one of the things I'd love to know is how you're enjoying these old dead guys artwork that we're doing this month.
Thanks, everyone. See you next time. Ginger Cook, the queen of color, with a blazing brush at the speed of light, and a blank canvas, and a hearty yes and yes. The queen of color, Ginger Cook, and her sidekick, John Little, teach you to paint with acrylics.